I'm only going to spend a little bit of time on this because today, one, there's a whole bunch of wind, and two, I had a conversation with I was trying to have a conversation with a friend earlier today, and they got up to even go into anything. They just like shut it off, and I don't know. So the conversation was, or the what sparked the conversation was, there was a picture posted on the Neen or some type of page like this that said, God isn't a he, it's an it. God is inside of us. You are God. You blah, 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 blah. You've seen posts like this. And God isn't a she either because, or whatever. Or no, it was like God's mom. No, I should have just done a regular video instead of. But my point is, so I kept reading in this particular Instagram post, and then I saw towards the bottom it was saying something about like spiritualism and God and all this other junk. And I thought to myself for a second, I said, you know, that's interesting. I dated a girl that was from India, which respect. I respect the entire culture. And one thing that we did talk about was how there are so many gods in the Eastern cultures, or in particular Hindu. And just to, you know, we're trying to find similarities, you know, and I think they have a name for the God that, you know, I call God or whatever. And so it was interesting to learn. I love learning. You have to have an open mind to be able to dialogue with people, because if you don't, you have a closed off mind, you come at somebody sideways, they're going to, you're not going to be out. It's just going to be negativity back and forth. And then two, you can't learn anything. You think I want to hear something from somebody that, you know, isn't I don't know. Anyway, y'all get what I'm saying. So basically the question today was, is God real? In this video, you know, you guys can kind of get a picture of what ask your own questions. So me personally, I did a video, is God real, last year, talking about, you know, when I lost feelings, that whole situation. And then there was, you know, of course, going through my case and victorious, which that's not always the case for some people, but hey, that's basically what, you know, I have found. Everybody, when you vlog, everybody's looking at you like, what's he doing? I talked about my brief situations that kind of helped me see that if God was. But today, this sparked a question, because she was like, oh, well, agree to disagree. It's like, it's not really agree to disagree, that with God has stayed the same throughout history. You know, back in the day, the technology was the brain. It wasn't our phone. It wasn't computers. The technology was your brain. You were able to rememorize things because it was told over and over. What was the Bible? The Lord's my shepherd, Psalms 23. Okay, so that's how people learned back then. Nowadays, it's wrong. Google it, research it. It's just all, it's not like library and find the book. You can go on Google, and you can find whatever you're looking for, and then you don't got to memorize it, because listen. Even with phone numbers, I'm going to tell you right now, I was better at memorizing people's names and their faces and phone numbers than I am today, because even my own dad, my dad's number, I talk to my dad almost every, I don't know his number by heart. You know why that is? Because it's in my phone. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And so that just goes to show you right there, like, just the differences. So now we're talking about in the realism of God being, you know, real and all. There's too much evidence. What I find funny, like I just said earlier, God has not changed. Spiritualists have changed. And what I mean by spiritualists, I'm talking about, you know, people who believe, you know, you can coexist, or there's solace. And I'm not trying to knock on other people's religions. I just want y'all to see something. With God, it has not changed. It just hasn't. God has not changed. People that represent God have changed, but God himself has not changed. He's more merciful, but he was still a merciful God in the very beginning, because he didn't just wipe us out anyways. So God, merciful God, is an unchanging God. So, but in the opposite of that, all these other religious practices change. They take away stuff. The people vote on things to keep. How can you do that if you're going to have, if you're going to be something that's real? They're adapting to culture. Well, truth, then it sounds like a weak leader would not conform and want to change to and just be accepting and it's okay and blah 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 blah. Like that's just ridiculous. Somebody that was a leader is going to say, hey, these are the rules that have put before you out of love, number one. Number two, I'm going to follow them because I'm the leader, not me personally. I'm talking about, God's going to follow these rules because he has put them forth. He's going to take his one day off for us, do the work throughout the week, yada yada. So it's like I put in order some laws. I go forth and I abide by these laws. I will do the same thing. This is the way. If you do not, this is the repercussion. Jesus comes down here and abides by that law. He also has earthly duties because in the same time he was God, he was man. And so, which that in its sense in itself is just like, right, miraculous. But is God real? So change, adapt. That's what all these other things are doing. Gotta stay the same. Stories have stayed the same. Bible verses stay the same. Oh, well, some of the things got lost through translations. Yeah, the these and thous. But you look at the Bible across over here, because people keep driving by and just staring at me. Across the words got translated wrong, which I have what do you call that? The concordance. I have a Hebrew and Greek concordance. I've looked at some of the words. It's not that far off. I mean, it's just like when you're learning Spanish from English, you know what I'm saying? Or sometimes just putting el televisión instead of television. It's el televisión. Like what? It's the same thing. You just don't have the in front of it. See what I did there? Boom. All right, but we're gonna come back around. So basically, I didn't want to make this video long, but it's already 8 minutes. Is God real? So God has not changed. And just me, it's God. God has not changed. So much of the spiritual, the lowercase s, religions start accepting more. Even science is what I want to get on, because a lot of people with science and they have the thing coexist and whatnot. Science debunked God. Y'all remember that? Like back in the day, that's what we pretty much learned all the way up until probably like 2008 or 9. Science start accepting some of the things being true, things being real. But yeah, it was before that. It was like, nah, nope, there's no way. Bill Nye Science Guy was like, nah, there's no God. There's a whole big thing about that. And it's like, dang, okay. Now, if I'm a person who doesn't know anything, all I know is that science has debunked this particular being, so it doesn't exist. But then all of a sudden we got people on their deathbed saying, you know what, there is a God. You have Stephen Hawking's smartest person ever, who just recently passed a couple years ago. He even said that there's a God. And every year they find new fossils and they go, well, that part of the Bible was true. The Bible was fake, right? They made it up, right? Somebody changed it. Am I right? Let me stop. I'm gonna keep going though. Let me keep going though. The next part of this is they find the Dead Sea Scrolls, which that was years ago, but footprints, and they're finding carvings, and they're finally, what do you call that? Being able to decode some of the hieroglyphics and blah, 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 like all these different things. And I'm like, well, that part of the Bible was true too. Not just in The Mummy, which is so funny that they'll bring stuff out of the Bible and make other movies about, but won't say like, hey, it's real. Hollywood, okay, listen, truth. Hollywood itself is the one that made Prince of Egypt and Joseph, Prince of Many Colors, whatever. They made it. That wasn't a Christian movie. Hollywood made those movies. And why is that? It's like, because no matter what, the truth will always come out, the truth itself. You know, you got Jay-Z freestyling. He's the Bible, but guess what? Truth's on the inside that flows right out. Bizzle. Look that up. So anyway, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. Look at Kanye, right? Kanye grew up in the church, and he's all, you know, no church in a while. What's a God to him? King, blah, blah, blah. What's God to a non-believer, whatever. His lyrics, right? But he's still doing Sunday services because he knows on the inside. It comes right out. But I'm not even going to talk about it. Let's talk about, is God real? So a few weeks ago, I had a situation happen, and I'm not embarrassed to tell you guys because I had a situation where I had $0 to my name, right? Like, you know, I've been telling y'all, just you gotta make your money, and you know that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to go full time, blah, blah, blah. I had a situation that had $0 to my name on that particular day for me to buy groceries. So I thought to myself, like, I'm gonna go in this store, and I'm just gonna take what I need. I'm not gonna, like, you know, overdo it. I'm just gonna get what I need. And one of my skills used to be swipe, and I'm like, I haven't done this in a long time. I was nervous as heck, anxiety, but then I grabbed all my items, right? And I'm about to walk out the store, and I remember thinking to my God, if you can hear me, I do not want to take these items. I want to get to the line. I don't know how they're going to be paid for. Just put somebody there to do this, to pay these for my grocery and help me out. Now, y'all probably like, dang, you're that, bro, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, I don't care. Because when I got to that line and they scanned both of my cards, I already knew it was going to go, dan, dan, dan. You know, they make that noise. Oh, sorry, sir, your card's declined. No, duh. So anyway, they scanned my other card. Da, 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 da. Maybe we didn't try the chip. Da, 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 da. The lady comes around. She sees, sir, what's going on? I was like, the Oreos. They take the Oreos off. I'm trying to watch my time. I don't want to go over 20 minutes. They just take the Oreos off, and of course, this thing doesn't stop. So I'm highly embarrassed, upset at this point, because I'm like, dog, I knew I didn't have no money. I was like, I'm just about to leave. The lady looks at me, and she's like, well, I have to buy a pineapple. I was like, okay. So she puts her pineapple down with my stuff, and I didn't even realize I'm about to walk away. And she's like, sir, you forgot. And I like looked at this lady, and this little old lady, she's, you know, probably like 4'11". She had this big smile, ear to ear, yo. Like, I can't even make a boy right after. And I just thought to myself, like, what? Like, I prayed it in my head. I didn't even say it out loud, because I don't even want to talk. We could talk about that later, but the reason why I pray inside my head a lot of times for big things, I just leave it. I literally was sitting there, like my video with the $300 that I got in the mail, the check I got from the university. Like, I literally was just like, oh my God. Well, I gave her I still can't believe it. I gave her a huge hug, and I thought to myself, I'm like, man, I prayed inside my head, like, and God straight up heard me. There was no like if, ands, or buts about that. It was like literally exactly what I had prayed for. God gave it exactly like that. Now, mind you, that doesn't happen all the time. God's not a genie. We don't just read the Bible and then, what can I do for you? Oh, hey, bro, you mind if I get the Lambo with the rims? No, you know what I mean? But it definitely was a situation that shook my mind. Then I go 2 weeks prior to that, I was laying on the floor, and I had fell asleep, and I woke up, and I knew something was wrong. Now, and it's nerves and all this, but listen, my mom's medical. I've been around people. I know what exactly happened in that moment. Not that I wanted to, but I'm just telling you guys straight up. I know what happened in that moment. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm having issues. This is what's going on right now. And I prayed, Lord, do not let me die. I said, I'm gonna shake this off a little bit, drink some water, I'm gonna lay down. I said, do not let me die. And y'all probably think to myself, go to the hospital if you think you have a stroke. Trust me, before I try to lay, kid you not, I grabbed my keys, I grabbed my knife, because I knew I was going to walk, or going to try to walk or call an ambulance or something. I grabbed everything and just put it in my pocket, and then I was going to call it good, right? Down, and it feels like my heart is cold, like where my heart is. Bro, that was such an eerie feeling, to feel numbness in my chest all the way to my back. And I tell y'all this, not to, y'all talk about stress. You ain't seen stress like knowing final minutes, and you're calling your dad and your mom and your sister, and nobody's answering. You're calling people who live right around the corner, come pick you up, and I'm like, God, I need to call 911. And so I got my keys, I locked my door, and I ran. And for those who know, like my coach, he recently had a stroke, and he ran, like they said, you know, he was able to live because it ended up passing the blood clot through or whatever. But I was just like, I'm going to keep moving, I'm going to keep going. And the street that was, and the police showed up because somebody called saying that there was a black guy stumbling around outside of businesses and stuff, and couldn't move my, you know what I'm saying, my left side was limp. I was just, it was all bad. And I get to the hospital, I'm like, Lord, or on the way there, I'm like, God, please, please, in my head. Like I said, you know, they ruled everything out, and, you know, it ended up being, you know, the doctor's like, oh, well, you might just have a pinched nerve, and that's why the numbness came, and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I don't know, maybe that's it. Maybe it was just a pinched nerve. But like I said, all the other stuff, all I know is that I prayed that prayer and it was answered. And that's 2 weeks in a row. Moving forward, yesterday, that situation where I was stuck between a rock, a hard place, lava, Bowser, bullets, arrows, like I just, any way, it was like, it was going to be over for me. And I was like, Lord, I need your help. I really do. I just need you to show up and answer this prayer, please. And God stepped up, and he knocked it out of the park. And here I am in this video, trying to have a conversation with somebody earlier, and just thinking, like, there are so many instances. Just look at how beautiful this is, yo. Disregard the telephone pole, that's not beautiful, but just look, like, this is just green and blue sky. Look at this glow. You think I made this glow? Maybe. I used an avocado mask this morning, but my thing is, there are so many things on this earth that prove God's existence. I think back to, I forget which prophet it was, maybe Elijah, where they had God versus the God. And I'm gonna end off with this story. I'm 20 minutes. God versus the gods. And so let us have a contest. We are going to put an altar here, and we're gonna call to our gods and let fire come down and destroy this, you know, altar. So the prophet was like, I bet, sounds good. I mean, hey, that's pretty fair. If your God can bring down fire, hey, you must got the right one. So I imagine this nowadays, everybody's out there with their phones on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, Twitter, YouTube. Should be subscribed. And the gods, like, they're up there and they're shouting their stuff and they're doing, and the prophet, because if it was me, I'd be like, shout a little bit louder. Actually, I think more noise, they dance louder and they call to their God, and then, yeah, nothing happened. So it was God's turn to step up. And so the prophet gets up there and he says, you know what? Douse it with water, drench it, soak it with water. Now check this out. Can you imagine at this point? You're like, man, I've been representing this my whole life. I believe this my whole life. But if this prophet gets up there, actually brings fire down. Because there's something about somebody that has confidence. Don't get that twisted. Somebody with confidence. Something about just you ever had a bet with your brother or a cousin or something, there are dollars that mom said or auntie said or grandma said that there's no cookies in there, and you're like, no man, I seen it the other day, and they're like, no, for real, I'll bet you $5. Like, they just have that eerie, like, this something weird, like, oh man, they probably know. The prophet gets up there and says, put some water on it. No, soak it. And I imagine everybody's like looking around like, bruh, if fire comes down from the river he prays to. The prophet said, boom, and if fire destroys that altar. And I'll find whatever verse that is, because I don't remember, but it was just like, dang, woo, whoo. Like, oh my gosh. Can you imagine? The other guys were just like, oh my gosh, like, yeah. Same thing with Moses. Moses came through, and funny. Okay, so I talk about Moses, right? Originally, they said it's impossible. But scientists have found all the old Egyptian artifacts in the Red Sea and scrolls. They found out hieroglyphs. And okay, y'all gonna say the Bible's false, but then what I hate is that they will say false for people forget, and then they'll be like, yeah. It just blows my mind, man. It just blows my mind. I don't know how many people have been on here. I don't know. I just have to laugh. There's too many good things in this world. There's too many good things in this life to prove God's existence. And just me being here, me and a half. If I told y'all everything that ever happened to me, one, y'all think I was making it up, which is why I started a vlog place. And y'all have seen the crazy things I've had to experience and deal with over this last 2 years being here in Oklahoma. But on top of that, there's so many things, man. Praying for a girl that was like possessed, bro. When I say possessed, I'm talking about, I was sitting there and we were doing this camp, and I remember hearing this. Look, this is giving me goosebumps. Look at that. Anyway, I remember hearing her scream, and I was sitting outside in the corridor with my friend Lena, and we both said, what the hell was that? Because it was like, sorry for language, but like, we both looked at each other like, what the hell was that? And I like looked around, what? We kids were, and this little black girl, she's, 8. She was shaking. She was shivering. I'm gonna end off with this. She was shivering and shaking. And she just, like, something in her, you could tell was going on. And I mean, she was making like this moaning sound, and she was like coming out her nose. It's just like, oh my gosh, there was something going on. Like, bro, this is freaking me out. Scaring me. All right, it's all good, because hey, anyway, we're dealing with this girl, and myself and Lena, like, we decided, like, hey, pastor came out, we're gonna pray for her. So we pray, and we're like, God, whatever's going on. So eventually the girl tells us she saw her dead mother, and her mother was telling her to come here after we did the Jesus pageant. And then after that is when all that stuff started happening, and moment of anxiety when you know that there is a presence among you. I could tell you my own stories, but I'm not trying to tell, okay? I'm not here to do that. When we prayed hard, and this little girl's spirit went from a spirit of deep fear. I don't know if you've ever been deeply afraid. Maybe there's a dog in your neighborhood you thought was going to eat you alive, or you thought you're about to be hit by a car, which I remember the day I got hit by a car. I just remember thinking, like, this is going to be bad. And then, or even a couple weeks ago where everything was happening, that deep fear. In that deep fear, you have two options. You accept what's about to happen, or you accept Jesus. Hey, what's the first thing people do right before they die? Lord, save me, Jesus. Right? That's the first thing people do when they die. Who do they call? They know. It's like, in that moment, it's like, oh shoot, I should have listened. Listen, man, I could go on, and I only wanted to go 20 minutes, but I'm gonna go 30 on this. But God is real. Regardless of what people say, regardless of, oh, the lost no, God has been the same since day one, since there was God. Like, before there even was, he is. Like, we can't even fathom that timeline. Before there was, he, like, what am I even saying? But that's the truth. All I need you guys to know, all I need you guys to do, do not believe Chan, do not believe Blanket Chan MMA, who should be subscribed to right now. You can if you want. What I would do is what I did. I searched. I got all of the religions out, all the LDS, the just fitness. I did all this, and Catholicism. I looked at all of them and I said, what's the same amongst them? At the end of the day, somebody's in charge. So I went and I looked and I said, well, who is it? Where do I go? All that. And at the end of the day, God wins. I found God. I found that God is the leader. He's it. Because before there ever was, he is. And when you realize that and you know what's going on, find out God's real. I'm sorry this video took so long. I've been out here for a minute. I just needed fresh air. I don't know. I know this was kind of a generalized, all over the place kind of little video, but I hope you guys kind of see the picture. There are so many instances and things and times, and maybe I might do more of these type of videos where I kind of describe some things that happened over my life. I do with my music. That's what my music's for. This channel is more about motivational things, but it's Sunday, and we just had Easter, and I didn't do a video for Easter, so I figured I'd do this, especially after this last weekend and God answering prayers. Then this morning dealing with that, and God's our Father. God is the Father. He's the one. If your father has left you, and I know I have a lot of friends in that situation, or you feel like your parent. Let's just know that you have a God who's your father, who's your friend, who's you can talk to. I'm out here, and I'm about to ask God some really tough questions once I cut this off, and because I need answers. And as I found a month. God has my back. God answers. So hope you guys have a great Sunday. Go to IamChan_2 later on this evening, or later on tomorrow. I'll post a video from this weekend from the show, and there's gnats everywhere. Anyway, look guys, peace.